Resistance training was almost made to rectify the challenges women go through as they age. Losing bone density, guess what's best for that? Losing muscle, guess what's best for that?
Yeah.
Having your hormones kind of bounce around a lot in a frustrating fashion, guess what type of exercise is best at modulating hormones? I'm not going to tell you that lifting is the best for everybody, but I think it's the best for most people, and I don't really think it's fucking close.
Welcome to the Coach 'em Up podcast. My name is Tim Riley. First things first, we're going to address the elephant in the room. As we all know, up to this point, and certainly my subscribers know, there are two types of people on planet Earth. There are subscribers and there are non-subscribers. For those of you who are living the non-subscribed life out there in the wilderness, battling out on your own, lost, scared, cold, lonely, you don't have to continue living this way. Join us. Come on in. The water's fine. It's free for you. It helps the show out a ton. And I get to keep bringing on badass guests like Danny Matranga.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Danny, we've been actually hanging out for the past 15, 20 minutes, right? Just chit-chatting. And you know how, like, I'm sure many people can relate to this. Like, you spend 5 minutes or so and you're like, yeah, we're going to have a good time.
The ADHD is...
It's just... yeah, exactly.
The prefrontal cortexes are out of control.
The governor's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So I've been following you for a while. I'm such a fan of your content and how thoughtful you are. And it's clear that in everything that you do, particularly with what you're putting out on social, there's a ton of intention and nothing's by accident. So I appreciate that about you. For the people who haven't had the opportunity to follow you like I have, who are you? How'd you get into coaching? How'd you end up working with the demographic that you're in? And then how'd you end up, kind of in this situation with me?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think like so many coaches, like most people who listen to this, I got into improving my own performance, improving my own physique, through athletic inadequacy at like an early age. I was like, all right, I'm short, I'm Caucasian, and that's going to be a limiting factor.
That's a problem.
Not only for sports, but it's not doing me any favors with girls. Right. And I was like, dude, I will never forget the first time I lifted weights in my life. I was told that it would be a really good idea if I wanted to get more minutes on the varsity basketball team to lift with them during the summer. On like JV, just go in and lift with the big dog.
Right.
And I went in for like a leg day. It was like 5x5 squat, 5x5 deadlift, and like walking lunges. I'd never lifted weights before.
Oh my God, dude.
I remember like putting my forearms in the water fountain because my forearms were cooked from walking lunges. Like I'm like, you know how any coach who's ever trained anybody will know this, but like when you train untrained adults, their forearms are fried on everything.
Yes.
And you're like, look, give it 3 months. Your forearms won't be limiting you on everything.
Yes.
It'll be fine.
It'll take a little time.
Totally. So I was just like, holy shit, this is awful. I'm like putting water in the fountain on my forearms. Couldn't walk for like 2 weeks.
Are the upperclassmen like seeing you doing this?
I'm grinding. And what sucked is like I was one of those like stocky kids. So it was like first time ever squatting, just throw 135 on the bar because I could do it.
Right.
And I have like I'm hypermobile. So just ass to grass.
You're crushing the
damaging as many muscle fibers as possible. And I kind of felt like I survived something really impactful. I was like, okay, that was kind of addicting. It felt awful afterwards, but the feedback was really powerful. And I was like, I'm going to do this on my own time, which of course meant only upper body. Yeah, I was like, I already get legs when I train with the team. And so I went to the gym from the age of like 16 to 18 at like 4 a.m. before school. Exercise all the demons, get all that anger, that teen angst out of my system. I got sports after school, but like I'm going to get fit. I'm going to get in shape before school. I remember being like 16, telling my buddies, come and work out with me, come and lift with me. It'll be fun. Then we'd play like horse or one-on-one to finish. But that was really kind of what got me into coaching was I found weightlifting as a way to improve my performance. I found that it was really fun. I started doing it on my own time. My friends were like, I want to do it with you. And I started being like, yeah, let's meet up at like 4:30 in the morning and we'll like grind our faces off with, mediocre form and tons of testosterone.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like people actually make a living doing this. Yeah. And I was like a very directionless teen after graduating. I was like, all right, I got nothing. I got no real academic drive. I don't have enough money to really go to college, but if I go to a state school, I can pay my way through. And they had this degree program called kinesiology, which is just physical movement. I was like, I guess that's enough to like get me off the couch and to try it. So I moved away from home at 18 and decided I was going to...
Where was home?
Sonora, small, tiny town in rural California. Very, very... when people think California, they think Southern California.
Yes.
This is more rural. This is up by Yosemite. It's mountainous. It's snowy. There's lots of meth. It's just
lots of meth.
Very methy.
Shout out meth.
Shout out meth.
Yeah, which just is, messing around with Danny on the podcast.
So never tried it. Yeah. Never tried it. But very prevalent, and it's one of these communities that doesn't have a ton of opportunities. So I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I moved to Sonoma County, which is a much more affluent county where there's a lot of wine. People are very bougie. I went to school. I got my degree. And to pay my way through school, I got a job at a 24-hour fitness. I was like, I got to train some people. This is all I can do. And like so many people who got started at a commercial gym, I trained anybody I could, whenever I could, usually for free. If I did sign a client, I was getting like $25 out of the $80 they were paying for their session. And that was actually very affirming for me. I was like, if I'll do this for free, or if I'll do this for a quarter of the ticket price, I must really like this shit.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? This is super validating. This is really fun. And like so many young people, I was totally lost. I didn't really have my parents around me. My dad has Parkinson's disease. That was a big driver for me to get into fitness. We want to save the people. We want to save people around us because there's usually somebody in our life we couldn't save.
Yeah.
And so that was a big motivator for me too. And the people that I got to train, I'm 30 now, but the people that I've gotten to train from like 18 to 30 changed my life, shaped my life like in ways I could never possibly have imagined or had no idea what I was stepping into. And I think that job in a lot of ways kind of saved me and positioned me to get more out of life than I otherwise would have. I was helping these people with their fitness, but they were helping a young man kind of stay on track, figure out life.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed me to start making content, to start sharing my ideas, to start, letting the intellectual part of myself show online, because I was around really intelligent people and I had to connect with them and figure out how to elevate them. So I got here by just really showing up every day and coaching, just like anybody listening. Sometimes today I'll still do 8 or 9 sessions at my gym. Wow. I like it.
Yeah.
Which bums me out because like I feel like a lot of coaches are like, the coolest thing is to not coach people. It's to be an online coach. And I'm like, that's kind of ass, bro. I mean, it's cool. I have my online clients too.
Sure.
You don't fucking miss training.
Yeah.
And if you don't, did you ever like it? And like, if you didn't, that's not my place to judge, but training people in person is really special.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got here.
So you and I have a lot in common. So I got my start. First of all, just want to note, so you're 30. You started working and training people at 18.
Well, dude, I literally got my NASM like 2 days after my birthday.
Whoa!
I was like, I had $850 in my bank account when I moved down here, and not down here, but moved down to Sonoma County, and I got a job at the vitamin shop. I was like, that'll be good.
Dude, I had a job
that did not
GNC
work.
Too.
I showed up there, and the dude was like, oh, shit, yeah, it's your first day. I actually had to give your job to a transfer, inter corporate transfer, so I'll email you when we get something else. I was like, I kind of need a paycheck soon.
That's wild. So you showed up for your first day.
So I bought mine.
It was like, you don't actually have a job.
I went to Yeah, it's like, you're kind of fucked, dude, but we can get you in a couple months. So I was working out at this, fucked me, dude. I was working out at this fucking vitamin shop, okay? I was working out at this 24-hour.
They're not a sponsor, so no worries at all.
And I remember, dude, this is so pick me, this is so corny, but I remember being at the 24-hour fitness, and I like walked up to the training manager, and I was like, dude, you know, I really need to get a job. Like, I would love to fold towels and work at the front desk, and then maybe one day become a trainer. He's like, become a trainer? You have to have a certification for that. And I was like, okay, buddy. Yeah. And I went out and I bought my NASM, and I would show up in the morning with my book. After I worked out I would read my book in the 24-hour fitness, like, here, sit here by the vending machine.
Please wait here patiently to be helped area.
You see me reading my book? I'm not really reading my book, but I'm looking like I'm reading my book. And I want you to know. And like, after 2 weeks of doing that, I was like, I'm taking the test on Saturday. And I took the test and I passed, and I went back in there. I was like, dude, I really want a job. And I was pretty bad at it, like most people when they start, but I had no other choice. I spent $699 of my last $850 on that certification.
I really need this job.
Yeah, dude. I was like, but that was like, thank God for Vitamin Shop. Long story short.
Yeah. You know, I started off in an LA Fitness selling personal training. Actually, that's where I got my start, and you know, legit actually in the fitness space, and then realized that made me very miserable. And eventually found my way into actually working with people, and much like you, like. It was big box gyms and training a shit ton of, as many people as possible, as often as possible, and just like grinding it out. And, I'm really grateful for that. I still train Gen Pop. You know, my shift over the years has certainly been more into like the pure performance space. That's just what's like, I get most excited about.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for the time and the many years I've spent working with regular people who just want to either be fit or live longer, be generally healthy, whatever. Many of whom have never played a sport.
Yeah.
Have never done any actual physical activity of like any fucking kind. And that has been such an asset to me, not only in, you know, working in the performance space, but just learning how to communicate with people and meet them where they're at. I feel I've been given this like scope of that ability that I otherwise wouldn't have.
Totally.
Can you talk a little bit about sucking? You know, just in the beginning, and just totally. What that was like.
I think this is actually like this will be kind of eye-opening for a lot of people. Remember, I told you I came from a really small town with very little diversity and like very little opportunity. And so I showed up with acne and a retainer over my front teeth.
Legend.
And like very coconut head haircut. And like this will surprise nobody, but the bigger, hotter, and just overall more aesthetically pleasing you look, the easier it is to get clients. I was like the smallest, dorkiest, lamest trainer at the gym, dude. And I don't know what was in the fucking water at this 24-hour fitness, but like everybody was like 6'2", 220. I'm like, okay, this is
everyone's beautiful.
I was like, this is bullshit. This is like a unit, this is like Stallion Garage over here. These guys are all fucking stacked out, and I am not gonna stick out at all for any good reasons. And I realized, like, okay, I'm just going to have to eat shit and become good at communication, become more intellectual, find a way to connect with these people. Dude, doing consultations at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 p.m. on a weekend. You booked me a consultation at 2 p.m. on a Sunday when I don't work and I have nothing before or after it. Yeah, I'll drive in and waste my time to do that. And that all felt like sucking.
Yeah.
And just eating it. But what I didn't realize was I was getting reps and developing interpersonal skills, and coming from the place where I came from, I had no ability to connect with anybody. This is a little bit embarrassing, but like the first gay person I ever met and became friends with was as a client at 21 years old.
Wow.
Because where I came from, you don't talk about that. Super white community. So like the first people I met who like and trained and connected with, who looked different than me, who had different faiths, different ethnicities, all of that was through training. And I was like, holy shit. So my tiny, puny worldview that was really reduced because of where I came from was blasted open by just trying to help people with their health. And it was so valuable for me. And I probably didn't help them as much as I should have when I was younger and still learning. But the learning how to connect with somebody who is totally different from you, age, skin color, what they enjoy, what their hobbies are, is really hard when you're like, okay, well, I come from this really small area and I don't know how to connect with people. And I learned all of these skills through fitness. And I just think it was in connecting that I got better and better and better at coaching and eventually was able to build a business. But at first I sucked. I made my first consultation throw up and I was very proud of myself.
Oh, you were like, hell yeah.
Shout out Jason Babler, 2013, bro. 2013.
Wow. Jason,
if you're out there, buddy, I'm really sorry. But I made him puke and I went to the training manager and I was like, dude, I did so good. I made him puke. And he was like, that's like the worst thing you can do on someone's first day.
Job. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I got some work to do here. And so after like a year of just sitting next to the membership desk and like being like, hey, so you got a gym membership. You don't know what to do, huh? I got enough clients to not suck. Yeah. But I still sucked for a long time.
The reason why I wanted to discuss it and tease it out is, I do consultations for young trainers and coaches, and there are just some things that, and look, like doing consultations and reaching out and consuming content, like all of these things can be incredibly helpful in sort of accelerating that learning curve. And obviously, if something is important to you and you want to perfect your craft and be as impactful and helpful as possible, you should pursue those things. All that being said, there are qualities and skill sets that you do not acquire without exposure, effort, and the passage of time. And that's just, and I'm biased in that because that has been my own personal experience, and I've seen that to be the thing that works the best. And it sounds like that's what I'm picking up in your story as well.
You can have all of the theoretical skills. You can have all of the sports specific training tools. You can have all the physiology knowledge mastered. But if your soft skills suck, you'll help less people. And soft skills take a while to develop, especially for people who come from athletic backgrounds. A lot of coaches do. And there is minimal soft skill development in like high school sports.
100%.
And a lot of what you were coached like and a lot of how you were coached is not going to work for the 75% of people who don't exercise.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that I see in the fitness landscape at large, particularly on social media, where someone who comes from a background purely of athletics, who's giving general fitness advice, or just advice in general, or hasn't worked with people in person. To me, it is like jump scare. Like I can tell right away.
Oh, yeah.
Because unless you've had exposure to working with ordinary people and doing it at volume and doing it for years, like some of the things people will say, like matter of factly or presumptively, they're missing such a wide gap.
Yes.
And like where most people are starting and like, where you're expecting them to meet you, it's jarring to me.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that really stands out about our industry is like you said sports performance. I'll use like bodybuilder physique people.
Totally, it's the same.
It's probably
same thing.
Even worse there. It's like a lot of the fitness and wellness advice given by bodybuilder physique people displays that they've only ever worked with bodybuilder and physique people, which is fine. But it's like, if you give that advice to most people, it's less helpful than you would think. And you need to develop the skills to like partition your advice. Like, this is what works for bodybuilders. This is what we can borrow from that for like Mary Muffin Top. That was like a funny archetypical client name that I remember from a cert. But it's like when you're training general population adults,
too, by the way,
you can't filter it through. I was like, you can't filter it through like, oh yeah, dude, she just needs to eat 150 grams of protein a day. It's like, does she eat 50 grams of protein a day? And some of the advice is painful and it's jarring for people like us because there's just not enough general knowledge there yet, and it's very siloed. It's like that was a bodybuilder advice for a bodybuilder.
Yep. Yes. I love what you said about, like partitioning that and like being able to just pull, the things that are consistent across like multiple areas of fitness and performance.
The through line.
Yes.
Yeah, you talked about this with somebody recently.
Yes, I did.
I generally agreed.
I think yes, it was Clifton. Yes.
I agreed with that. I thought that was actually wonderfully put. The longer you coach, the more people you coach, the more modalities that you study, whether it's physique, sports performance, weight loss, you find the through lines, and they're actually really consistent.
They are.
What people who are unfit and untrained need, they need the through lines. They need the most basic stuff that has the highest return. And it's funny because most people at the elite level, they're debating the 20% of the 80-20.
Yes.
And everybody else just needs the 80. Just give them the 80 and shut the fuck up. You're confusing them. Yeah. You're making it shittier. I don't know about you, but I feel like fitness has gotten a little shittier because it's gotten so damn complicated. And like when I see somebody with a foam roller over their arm hitting an upper pec fly like on a cable machine, I'm like, I don't give a fuck if that works.
Right.
I don't. That, you know what that does? That makes me want to not train.
Yeah.
That makes me want to, when people, you a workout guy? Never heard of it. Not, what are you talking about? That to me, it's like demotivating. Like we have gone so far off the reservation.
Yes.
It's just, that is a visual that I think is emblematic of overcomplicating things.
I've been getting more and more of that content because I remember I've like engaged with One Piece, and now it's like I'm getting a lot of the it's like, video of like a kid with a foam roller on his arm, and he's on a preacher curl machine doing front delt raises with it, and it's like, some kind of rage baity caption about
there's like 5 clips on the cable that don't need to be there, so I know you're fucking with me because that handle doesn't need to be on that cable.
And it's someone green screening it, and they're like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Yes, dude, for sure.
Which is also like a whole nother thing that is I struggle with because on one end, it's like the fitness space at large has become, in many ways and in some pockets, pretty volatile, right? Where we have these sort of silos that sort of launch nukes at each other, and and it comes in the form, particularly on social media, of like the green screen, where it's
like a manufactured turf war that actually keeps engagement going. Like I'm like.
That's the best.
We could all just shut the fuck up and tell people to lift 3 days a week and remind people 9 in 10 Americans don't eat enough vegetables. But no, you got to shit on the kettlebell dancers, and you have to get the moral high ground here because you're very stable when you train for hypertrophy. And it's like, dude, what it looks like to me as somebody who's been around long enough to not give a fuck anymore is the physical dick measuring contest of fitness. It becomes like the intellectual dick measuring contest of fitness. Like, oh, if I'm not bigger than you, then I'm definitely smarter than you, and you're dumb. Yeah. And that is the new way to gain like moral superiority. Is like, I'm gonna just completely bash all this, and like I'll be the first person to call out inefficient training modalities when I see them. But it is a little exhausting to see nothing but like green screen shitting on people videos.
The problem is that. That's what works right now.
It's that is.
Because trust me, dude, I sit there sometimes and I'm like, I'll see something. I'm like, I could eviscerate this in 30 seconds. I know this clip will go viral.
Yes.
Make it. And that's the dilemma I find myself in, where it's like, it's so easy. And then it's like, even saying that out loud, it's like, okay, it's like, do I make that clip? But then I say to myself, no, I'm not going to do that because that, and then it's like, well, what sort of, self-absorbed moral high ground am I standing on by not making the clip? You know what I mean?
I do, dude.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. Like, am I the snobby, pretentious fuck because I'm not making the thing? You know what I'm saying?
I do. I actually think you're battling with a real moral dilemma, which is what you value in creating content and what you value in education comes from a place of teaching, not a place of bashing.
Yeah.
And we're living through the reworking of our algorithms. They are being reworked to be more aligned with division, to be more aligned with a fracture.
Yeah.
People want content that's divisive in large part because they've been handed it and conditioned to want it.
Yep.
And that is why a lot of this content is winning.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who make great educational content are losing because the appetite is shifting. It's not just in politics or in media. It's like bleeding into everything.
Yeah.
And divisive content or like bashing content or making fun of people content, it crushes. Like I know you get all the raw milk kid videos.
Of course.
And I'm just like, oh shit, man. 10,000 likes.
I know.
Dude's in the cafeteria. He's like, I'm looking for, what does he say? I don't have sex. I don't drink beer. And,
maybe you should.
I'm just looking for a godly woman. And it's like, yeah, buddy, I bet. And I'm just like, you know what? This video has 10,000 comments and they're all awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you're better off just making shit on me content or shit on other people content than you are making let me help you content. Yeah. And that algorithmic shift is hard for good people. People like you who are like, I could do that, but I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good place to be. I'd rather something, our industry is already fucked up enough because people with a ton of influence pursue that which will get them the most engagement.
Yeah.
What happens when the good ones do that?
Yeah.
We're cooked. So,
and I mean, look, I've no perfect track record either. I mean, I've made a couple, particularly, it's like, man, I just... I have my moment of weakness and it's like functional patterns.
Oh, yeah.
Naughty says something. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, but we don't
can't. Mm-hmm. Do I get a hall pass for that one?
I think so. Because I think so. I do this with Paul Saladino because I'm like, listen, you're a pernicious little fuck. You know what you're doing. You know how you're lying, and you're lying to financially improve your position in life, in my opinion.
Yep.
In my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe bringing coconuts through the airport is the most effective way to hydrate. But a lot of these people.
But it's disingenuous, though.
Yeah, and a lot of these people are like, they must think that everybody is so stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, when somebody sees it for what it is, and I think it's very unique with foundational patterns or fictional functional. I don't even remember what it is anymore.
Fictional patterns sounds better.
But it is crazy. Like you see dudes grabbing a cable machine and like twisting around and just flexing a ton of moral superiority. And you're just like, no, I'm just going to sit on my hands and let them spout shit. And I'm just going to take it, even though I know it's not true. I can't do that either, bro. It's really hard when you see people just flat out just spoofing to just be like, nope, not diving in.
How do you feel about the Paul's push for gyms and airports?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I love fitness. I love working out. I pay like some ungodly amount of money every year for an Amex membership so I can shower at the airport. But I would never work out at the airport because I think my session quality would be shit. Mm-hmm. And I will forever laugh at the press conference with the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary and Paul Saladino where he says, we're going to put treadmills and pull-up bars and dip bars, things every American can use in airports. And I am like, fucking 1% of Americans can do a pull-up. Yeah. You've trained 0 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the least functional piece of equipment.
Have you been in an airport?
For the general population. And I don't know if you know this, but there is a ton of places to walk around the airport. Like, especially the entire airport.
Like the actual,
believe it or not, the whole airport is fucking made for walking. And like, you can do dips and push-ups without equipment. Yeah. And like, I fly out of SFO. That yoga room is always empty. And like $1 billion grant to build these gyms with how inefficient the government is at using money will be like 20 gyms and they'll be tiny and it'll be like, okay, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
That is not going to make a public health impact. And I think we need to do way better with all of that. And like, that's something I am really passionate about is I think we need like massive scale investment in America's public health. We spend so much money on stuff like $1 billion for airport gyms is nothing. Give me $20 billion for gyms in every park, in every urban and rural city in this country. Give me tax credits for people who have gym memberships. Find ways to incentive $1 billion for airport gyms. And the average American flies 1.4 times a year. Woo, you got 1.4 extra workouts this year, buddy. And it only costs like $5 per taxpayer. You know, it's not worth it. And I think when I see stuff like that, I'm like, why does the U.S. government think that calling Paul Saladino to do this is the best way to convince people that this is a good idea? Why'd they call him? Why not, Arnold Schwarzenegger? Why not Lane Norton? Why not? There's a lot of people we could call, but we called the guy who's kind of good at fibbing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a little slimy. Yeah. And it's like, look at what we're doing over here, but don't really pay any attention to what we're doing over here. We're making you healthy. But I don't know.
It does feel a little, as someone who has worked with Gen Pop my entire career, like how few Americans actually do travel. And the things that are going into those airports, it's like most people can't do dips, dude.
Dude, nobody's doing
no one can do pull-ups. Like you go to a gym and you see people doing that. If you go to the airport, my brother in Christ, and you pick 50 people, 2 of them will be able to do a single pull-up.
Dude, if that, dude, that is a incredibly
So it's really just for the people who are already able to do it.
Yes,
actually.
And that says nothing of the cleanliness issues or the practicality issues or the obvious fact that if there was a demand for this, the private sector would have done it. They would have fucking put a 24-hour fitness with a $30 drop-in fee. You don't think that somebody has thought about this already?
Yeah.
Like, you can buy a lot of shit at the airport now, too, that's, like, healthy. That's the other thing. Is like, I hate the packing healthy food. I just saw this one. Bringing my raw cheese on the plane. It's fucking nature's protein bar. No maltodextrin for me. I'm like, okay, asshole. They sell muscle milk at the airport. Like, what are you doing? Like a $9 block of raw cheese that you're just going to disgust your whole plane with because you had to be better than everybody?
Right. Could you imagine someone slurping out of a coconut and smacking raw cheese next to you on a plane?
Performative fitness content bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
The Coach 'em Up podcast is thrilled to be reunited with Atlantis Strength. If you listen to the show, then you know that I think machines are highly underrated, not only for Gen Pop, but for athletic populations as well. With Atlantis Strength, the biomechanics are always dialed in. The joints line up, the strength curve is always on point, and every rep feels natural and strong. And it's no surprise. They've been engineering and shaping greatness in their Canadian workshop for over 40 years. Now that I own a gym myself, it was a no-brainer which company I was going to purchase my machines from. They are simply the best. If you're a gym owner, strength coach, or you just love good machines, go to atlantisstrength.com or reach out to me directly at connect@coachemuppod.com. This episode is brought to you by friend of the show, David Gray of David Gray Rehab, creator of the absolute game-changing foot, ankle, and Achilles program. To date, it's helped over 8,000 people, including Zach and myself, get back to running, jumping, and playing pain-free. This program isn't just for athletes, it's also been used by coaches and physios in the NFL, NBA, and Premier League, as well as every other major sport. And if that wasn't impressive enough, you can get the full program 15% off lifetime access when you click the link in the show notes and use code TIM at checkout. Now, back to the show. As a qualifier for Danny's specialty, Daniel's home is working with women, and particularly in the Gen Pop space.
Yeah.
And most of my clients are women. I have a daughter, and the thin trend, I've seen it. I've seen my 8-year-old little girl talk about being thin. I never, you know what I mean? She's picking that up from classmates. And then I see, by the way, can we just not even talk about the thin thing just for a moment? Like, and I'm going to use Cynthia and Ariana Grande as the, because that's what the content piece was you made. Are they okay, bro? Like, just like, we're going to set the physical thing aside. What is going on there?
I read some of the comments, and it seems like there is a little bit of a deep conspiracy theory as to what is going on with the Wicked cast. I have no remaining brain cells for anything like that. So I was just like, I'm gonna let let y'all go on about who got infected by what or who had, like, they're in a cult. What? Like, it's crazy. And, so some people are like, no, they're not getting thin from Ozempic. They're getting thin from demonage. And I'm like, whoa, bro. Like, I read some of these comments. It's crazy. But what I think is going on there is you have a social pressure to look a certain way. It could easily affect a cast that has 10 women on it, and one of them's really thin, and the rest of them feel the pressure to get thin. I don't know what it is. I probably stand to gain almost nothing from speculating. But to the point you made, thin is back in, and it's become a lot more pervasive. I've seen it a lot in Pilates culture or Pilates adjacent culture. We're re-entering a timeline where the pressure to be thin and look a certain way reminds me a lot of what it was like when I first got into the industry, which was really thin, really thin, really thin, restrict, restrict, restrict. Then we went through a kind of body positivity / neutrality period. And I totally get why people were frustrated with body positivity, because there's some, there are some moral gray areas when you say, hey, look, you can pursue fitness at any size, but you can't really be healthy at any size. And people wanted to debate that and tear that apart. And so some of what I think is happening now is the pendulum swinging back from a more inclusive, body neutral place to one that is honestly more normal. Like, as fucked up as it sounds, like, pursuing thinness is the norm. At least it was for most of my life.
It has been the norm. What we went through was a course correction.
Yeah, with some, albeit, bumps in the road that we could have ironed out. Like, nobody's healthy when they're 300 pounds and 50% body fat. Congratulations. You bringing that up solves nothing. But, you cannot be healthy at every size. We get it. But you should be encouraged to pursue your health no matter where the fuck you're at.
Regardless of size, pursuing the health.
I would imagine that if every woman in America pursued the leanness of the wicked stars, that they would be wicked fucked up. And it would be really bad for their health. What I have noticed is that most of the women I train are healthier when they're not overweight, when they're not overfat. But they're quite unable to perform and thrive when they're chronically underfed or really, really thin. And I think that sweet spot is pretty wide and pretty broad. And I think you see it a lot more with men. Men can perform at like a variety of different body fat percentages, let's say between like 15 to 25%. You perform really good. And I think for women, there's just a tremendous pressure to be on the lower end of that body fat percentage, and they pay for it more quickly because of their physiology. I think the restriction required to be a thinner woman, like we're talking women often eat less than 1,300 calories sometimes to get to that level of leanness. No adult is thriving in that way.
And particularly if you're training regularly.
Totally. Yeah. And so while I think thin is his comeback, I think it is definitely riding on a wave of pharmacology, because we have these new compounds that make getting really thin a different experience. I don't want to say easy, but it's substantially lower friction experience. And now what we once called heroin chic is a lot more achievable.
Oh my God.
And that
You're
scares
right.
me.
We used to call it heroin chic. Now it's like people are like, Ozempic face.
Yeah. And I think that while morbid obesity is the principal health issue that plagues this country, if every woman in America feels pressure to be, too thin, we're going to have other issues. And being too thin as an active woman is really not good for your reproduction. It's not good for your thyroid. It's not good for your aging. It's not good for your bone density. It's not good for your skin. And when you have such a large middle ground where you can still perform and be healthy, I would encourage women to live in that middle ground. And if you want to get thinner, do it slowly. And again, just with regards to these two, I don't want to come from a place of judgment. They should, and any woman should pursue whatever body they want. But I would tell any client that, like, if the cost of your dream body is your peace of mind or your health, it is not worth the fucking price.
God, what a wonderful point. And it's so funny, because I feel like that is the crux of what so many people struggle with, particularly women. Me having my daughter, this is something so my mother, I watched her struggle. And, certainly her generation, there was a lot of disordered eating that was not considered that. It was actually very normalized, right? Oh, nope, I've had enough. Oh, I've eaten plenty. Right? And my heart just breaks for women in the fitness space, man, because it's like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's so fucking predatory. Mm-hmm. And admittedly, I was not aware of how, like, I could see it showing up in my clients and the tug of war between, it's like, oh, I need to feel good about the body I'm in and I want to be strong and healthy, but also I want to be fit. And it's like, you're there's these two juxtapositions and then, it's an onslaught constantly from the algo to be
warfare.
Oh my God. And then, Kelly, who I think has been, an inspiration for a lot of women in the fitness space and helping them, particularly, feel okay taking up space and being strong and being healthy and prioritizing those things. But seeing what she navigates on a regular basis and her algorithm and now being exposed to the fitness landscape, particularly with women on that side of the curtain, brother, holy fuck.
It's bad.
It is the wild, wild west out there. It's like, am I supposed to be a Pilates princess? Am I supposed to,
Yes. No, I see it every day. I think that misinformation and just like grifting in fitness is at like an all-time high.
For sure.
The scammers are out. They're getting what they can while the getting is good. There's a ton of new people getting into fitness and health who weren't into fitness and health before. Mm-hmm. A lot of overweight individuals who are getting prescribed GLP-1 medication are being told, rightfully so, hey, you need to begin a fitness routine with this. So many new people entering the fitness marketplace. And there's a battle for their eyeballs, for their attention, but more than anything, for their dollars.
Yeah.
And we talked about this off air. Women spend more money than men in their households, but especially on fitness and health. So if you want to sell something in the fitness space, you're better off trying to sell it to women than to men. And I think as our generation, people, let's say 25 to 45, millennials and older Gen Z, as they get into perimenopause, as these women approach perimenopause, they will be the largest demographic group in the country. So there's more women than men. There's now more millennials than boomers. Boomers are aging out, and the primary purchasing power, as millennials inherit 70% of the wealth their boomer parents left them, is going to be these women, 35 to 50, who open their phone and are getting lambasted with, oh, no, you're not fat because of calories, you're fat because of cortisol.
Yeah, buy this. Cortisol face.
Yeah, you know what? Your muscles need to be lengthened.
Long and lean. Pilates muscles.
With that, you're buying the image. You're buying the status. Pilates is very status-driven, image-driven.
Totally.
And so what I think I'm seeing is a lot more of, to your point, probably through Kelly's algorithm, I'm seeing more of that even on my own algorithm, which is like, gosh, they are really going hard after women who are entering middle age or who are in their mid-30s with all the menopause stuff, all the hormone stuff, and so much of this is just dog shit.
Yeah.
I see it for men too with TRT. I feel like everybody's on TRT, which is fine. I have no problem with being on TRT, but I don't think every guy needs to be on TRT. And I'm noticing that that's kind of where we're headed. Where, like, for women, it's cortisol, it's peptides, it's Pilates, it's weighted vests, it's colostrum, it's greens powder. And I'm like, 90% of you don't eat vegetables and train, so let's do that.
Yep.
But no.
I think another thing too, and to dig into the, a little more into the Pilates piece, because it is surging in women's fitness, right?
Huge.
And it's tough because and also paralleling the misinformation, it's really tough because I feel like anytime you bring up the conversation around what Pilates actually is, and the benefits, the pros and cons of Pilates, and there are pros, there are some cons.
Sure.
As with any fitness modality or method of training, right? But the claims around and the magical thinking, and sometimes, in some cases, the outright lies around
sensationalism.
Yes, great word. Thank you. The sensationalization of Pilates and what it can actually do for you is egregious.
Yeah, it's out of control. And like, again, I bring this up all the time because I do poke the bear a little bit with this one. I will confidently say Pilates is really good exercise. Pilates is good for your mental health. As a resistance training modality, it's probably below average. As a core strengthening, spinal resilience, general mobility practice, it's probably above average. But for a general population adult, it is a below average standalone fitness routine.
Yeah.
Pairs much better with something like concurrent anaerobic aerobic training routine. And it is so awesome as a number 2. Like Pilates is an amazing number 2.
It is an elite number 2.
Your Robin, but fuck, I don't know if I want it to be my Batman. You know what I mean? Like so many of the women who are currently pushing Pilates have either incredible genetics or incredible physiques that the average woman will never develop with Pilates. They will only develop that if it's even genetically possible with something like resistance training. And I think in so many ways those two go together really well. A lot of lifters don't have a standalone mobility practice. They neglect core training. They don't train in any of the unique ranges of motion that Pilates offers. I think it's good. But whenever I say publicly that I think it's an inefficient form of resistance training that works better as a number 2, I always get people saying like, that's because you've never taken my class where we use weights. I'm like, oh, no shit. You're telling me that Pilates with weights is better?
Right.
So like, okay.
The call's coming
you mean the fucking weightlifting you're doing in your the reformer kicks your ass. That's more resistance.
Yes.
Check this out. This is the cool thing about weightlifting. The bars really, you can just keep going. More plates, more plates, more plates. Like, if you think the reformer is cool, just wait till you try weightlifting.
Wait till you add 5 pounds on the bar next week, or on the machine, or the cable.
Do you understand that you're kind of like indirectly proving my point that to get the most out of Pilates, you have to turn it into resistance training? And it's like, damn, I know that you can't see that. When you say this, it's because you're just like, shut up, pussy, you die in my class. I'm like, also, hold up, for all the Pilates instructors, that's how I know you've never fucking coached anybody. You know how awful it is as an instructor of exercise to say, well, if you came to my class, you'd have a horrible experience and leave crying like a little bitch. Like, okay, that's fucking not hard. I could kill anybody.
You did that to Jason? To Jason.
It's
day one.
That's not, I don't like that response. I get it because it's like, you're taking the piss out of my modality. I'm going to emasculate you. It's like, that's fine. It's fine. What you don't know is I'm hypermobile. I come in there and just be sleeping. But it is what it is. Like, let it happen. But I do find that there is a initial kind of rabid response from these Pilates acolytes to defend it and not to consider it one of many modalities. Like, if all you do is run, you're going to have massive holes in your fitness. If all you do is lift, you're going to have massive holes in your fitness. Pilates is not full spectrum. We don't need to pretend that it is. It's good, and it's so much better than doing nothing, which, by the way, gets brought up every time.
But it's better than doing nothing.
That's
not the fucking point.
Dude, that totally. It's like, man, like fucking, if I picked one fingernail and left 4 done, that's better than not doing them all, like one, I guess, but like I still got 4 untrimmed nails, dude. Like, that was inefficient. And I don't know, that analogy's ass, but the point is, like, the inefficiency of it sucks. And I'm just like, yes, you're right. Everything's better than being a sedentary obese person. Congratulations. You should win a fucking prize for that research.
But there's also this crowd, it's like, like the messaging is, okay, yeah, but any movement is good movement, and you should be encouraging people to move. And it's like, my God.
Did you read the caption?
Definitely not.
I said it in the caption.
I literally, like, read caption, but it does feel like it's impossible. And look, you're never going to whenever you say something like that, it's not going to land for everybody, you know. the reading comprehension is actually not that great in the States.
Oh my God.
It's
Have
bad.
you actually seen the American literacy statistics?
No, I haven't.
You don't want to. They're awful.
I know it's
think
bad.
1 in 5 adults cannot read at like a 4th grade level.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that unequivocally. But you're met with this sort of, I don't know if it's like a virtue signaling crowd, or it's just maybe someone who wants to be contrarian.
It's both.
Or it's just, there is the kind of individual that just, they're going to find a way to plant a flag and kind of slightly oppose what you're saying, regardless of what it is. And the comment is usually something like, hey, you make a post and it's like, hey, with a lot of context and a lot of consideration, hey, here's this thing, here's what it's good at, here's what it's not good at. Here are some other things you might want to prioritize. Here's why you should do that. Here's the gaps they fill. Here's why those things are probably most likely the best option. It's like, well, you shouldn't discourage people to move. And it's like, my God, fuck me to death.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not doing that. I'm just giving you more options.
Dude, there are people who exist in perpetuity to just neg.
Yeah.
But again, it's like that is a complete false binary. Like, I'm not telling you not to move. You're telling me that movement's important to you and that nobody should be discouraged. And I agree. I just can't imagine what would be more discouraging than using my limited time to move and doing it so inefficiently. I would hope somebody would be like, hey, shit, you only have 3 hours a week to move. You might want to spend 1.5 of those hours lifting something.
Right.
You'll get a lot out of that as opposed to an incredibly inefficient form of exercise. And yeah, all movement is good movement, but like you could be a lazy rebuker of that and be like, no, 1RM deadlifts aren't good for people with a herniated low back disc. And it's like that. Now we're just in a downward spiral.
Also, the all good, isn't all movement good movement a bit lazy?
It's incredibly lazy.
Because
it lowers the bar.
Okay, yes, and in an effort to be as inclusive as possible and to be as encouraging to possible and to lower the barrier to entry to people, you want to do that. But I think also there is some common sense that could be applied to that without being you being a monster, or preying on people's downfall.
Yeah.
By saying also, in addition to all movement being good movement, here are some really good options, and here are some entry level options.
Totally.
I don't know.
All fruit is good for you.
Yeah.
But some fruits have way more vitamins, minerals, and fiber.
Yeah.
You should eat some of those, not just the ones that taste really good. Like a banana offers upside.
Yeah.
But a kiwi offers more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, eat all the bananas. It's better than not eating fruit. Yeah. But try a kiwi. You get a lot out of that.
Yeah.
And
you might fuck around and like it.
Yeah. And I think with exercise it's the same. It's like I'm, especially for women, like I will die on the hill that it seems to me as though resistance training was almost made to rectify the challenges women go through as they age. It pairs unbelievably well with what women struggle with as they age. Losing bone density, guess what's best for that? Losing muscle, guess what's best for that? Having a hard time feeling connected to your body and confident in your body, guess what's best for that?
Yeah.
Having your hormones kind of bounce around a lot in a frustrating fashion, guess what type of exercise is best at modulating hormones? I'm not going to tell you that lifting is the best for everybody, but I think it's the best for most people. And I don't really think it's fucking close. And I think it's definitely the best for women. And what's funny is weightlifting is such a young male thing, but the older and the more female you are, the better it is for you. And I hate to say it, if I could get every single granny in America to be Danny's grannies lifting weights, I would be so unbelievably happy and content with that, because I think that is probably the most missing piece for many women as they age is they miss the strength, they miss the resilience, and they want to be able to participate in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And going back to what we talked about restrict. It's hard to build a foundation to have, a dignified aging experience when you're malnourished from 20 to 45. And a lot of women do that to themselves. And I would just say pursue strength, pursue a body neutral approach, If you have, the genetic capability to build an amazing physique, go for it. If you don't trash yourself. Still chase health and pursue strength, because it'll be a lot better for you when you're 60, 70, 80 than if you deprive yourself for the first half of your life.
You know what I find fascinating too? First of all, you just articulated all that so beautifully. My God, can we clip all of that, Ben? I'm just quick note to the editor, Danny. It's almost like you know what you're talking about, and you've spent your whole career doing it. I think a lot of people, and even the average fitness consumer, like knows that stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is what's fascinating to me, is that in light of that knowledge, the power of identity and trying to find that in these pockets of fitness, particularly with something like Pilates right now, is so much more powerful than what we know to be true.
Yeah.
The desire and the pull to appear or be a part of or to align with a particular perceived image is, for most people, more important. It's more important.
I agree. I think
evidently
human beings seek community. They seek tribe. They seek meaning in their life. And I think right now, especially in America, there's a lot of fractures on politics, on culture, on so many things. And people, if you look at the statistics on loneliness, more people than ever don't have even one close personal friend. We see this especially with young men.
Yeah.
And fitness provides community. If you get a stringer tank top and a gallon water jug and throw some pink BCAAs in it and like have a lifting belt on when you definitely don't need one on, and present a certain way in the gym, I'm like, oh, he's a bodybuilder. He's with the bodybuilders. Same thing with powerlifters. It's like you can actually display to people the modality of fitness you like before you even enter the gym, with how you dress, with what you wear, the supplements you take. Mm-hmm. And I think fitness has become a form of expression for a lot of people, of a way to find community. Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of it's very performative. And I've kind of disengaged with it over time, because I'm like, I don't want to be like stuck in any one camp. I don't want to perform to fit into any one camp. I want to be fit. Right. I want to be healthy. I don't want to have to buy the outfits. Here in
Austin, it's the mustache and a go one more hat and a stringer.
Yeah, so it's like, bro, the hybrid male, black shades, tight running shorts, shirtless, strap, heart rate monitor strap, tattoo, go one more hat.
Yeah,
I love that you love that. I'm happy that you have that. I wonder if you need more than that. And if you're craving fitting in with something bigger than yourself, the same way that a woman might go to Pilates, get the matcha, get the zip up singlet. And a lot of this effort and energy goes into the display of like, look, I'm part of this thing. I'm one of these people. And I think it's wonderful that that's fitness. But you can't fill that hole. I don't think we find the true, meaningful, welcoming community by dressing a certain way. I think we find it by just the people. Like, you shouldn't have to look a certain way to be in it. Yeah. And I think we're there now, because fitness has become very performative, and there's a lot of money to be made on selling the outfits. Too. It's absolutely a status symbol.
The ability to have the time, effort, energy, and resources to be really fit.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, I think Pilates says a lot of things about a woman that have nothing to do with exercise. Yeah. It costs a lot. Yeah. It costs a lot to wear the outfits. It costs a lot to go to the class. Mm-hmm. And I think that's
Because matchas aren't fucking
people want to pursue that because it's a status elevator.
Yep.
And like for me, it's like, dude, I'm going to lift in the hotel with my wife beater on and some shitty sweats, and I'm going to train to failure like an absolute hog, sloppy as hell. Nothing about this is fun.
Glorious.
Nothing about this is sexy. I hope to God nobody sees it. It's like, that's after 10 years of doing it, it's the least sexy shit in the world. Like, I'm trying not to wake up my kid while I work 3 days a week in the garage. Like, I'm like, this is absolute dog shit, but this is the real fitness. This is what it really takes to stick with it. And like, I want people to know that it can be ugly and sloppy and imperfect. And I find these highly curated visions and like visuals of fitness to actually discourage people. Because
isn't that funny? Because the irony is like, from that same camp and culture, it's like a wonderful barrier to entry at the physical level. However, socioeconomically and from a status place, impossibly attainable.
Yeah, what's funny about fitness is if you bring up social determinants of health, which do matter, where you live matters, how much money you make matters, all of that shit matters for your health. You are taking personal responsibility away from people who have gotten fitness, because there's this kind of interesting dichotomy. Is fitness is some part personal responsibility, some part social determinants. And if I say to somebody who's very fit, I could be as fit as you if I had the money you had, the time you had, lived as close to the gym as you do, but I don't. I have 3 kids, I'm unemployed, and I just can't make it happen. That can all be true. And you're stealing that fit person's agency. Right. They're like, well, I take the initiative and take the responsibility. And I think it's a combination of both of those things. But and this is something that I think a lot of fit people should check in with. Like, it sounds so corny to be like, check your privilege. But it's like, do you have a lot of things working for you that make it easier? And, do you take that for granted now? And do you seek validation and moral superiority for your fitness? Because for a lot of people, being in half as good a shape as you are would be twice as hard because of the social determinants and challenges they have. But I think a lot of people want credit for their excellent fitness. And so they say, nope, it's you either got it or you don't. You either want it or you don't. Yep. I have it and I do it and I'm just better than you. And that elevates me and that puts you down. And humans fucking do that because we live in a hierarchy and it feels good to elevate yourself in the hierarchy. But I think when we do it at the cost of other people and we create these situations, it's way more discouraging than something like all exercise is good exercise. Yeah, I just think we've overshot a little bit.
The Coach 'em Up podcast has partnered with OVR. In the world of athletic performance testing, OVR has truly changed the game. From their timing gates, vertical jump testing units, and their velocity-based tracking systems, they are simple, easy to use, reliable, precise, and check this out, affordable. I'm such a big believer in OVR. I've partnered with them in my competition Apex, and they are the official timing gate system of the Fast 40 event. Finally, a tracking device company that is accessible to everyone. They even have an app where you can track, log, and see your results in real time. If you're not testing, then you're just guessing. Click the link in the show notes and gamify your training. The Coach 'em Up podcast has partnered with Eleiko.
Let's go!
Not only is Eleiko found in 85% of Power 5 schools, but they also offer at-home solutions from racks, flooring, rigs, barbells, bumper plates, your favorite accessories like straps and weightlifting belts, you name it, Eleiko's got you covered. Go to eleiko.com/coachemup and get access to the same equipment that they're using in the best facilities with the best athletes on the planet.
And now, back to the show.
The theme I'm picking up just in our conversation is there's so much duality and the dichotomies in fitness and the push and pull, and the fact is that is just the way it is, and multiple things can be true at once.
1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. There are so many things that are simultaneously true that are indeed in opposition to one another, and I think that is why it becomes the fitness umbrella at large becomes increasingly more impossible to understand and to have a neutral opinion on.
Yeah, the longer I'm in it, the simpler it seems. The louder the arguments get, the louder the noise gets, but maybe this is true for you. 10 plus years, like 20 plus certifications, all the podcasts, all the books, all the weekend workshops. And you get as many little golden nuggets as you can out of every single one. And you have this big old motherfucking coaching toolbox. I got every goddamn tool I'm ever going to fucking need. And I use the same 10 almost every day.
Yeah.
And why do I go back to these same 10 tools? And why do they work so well for so many people? Why does every human need a hinge, need a squat, need a push, need a pull, need a rotate, need some form of aerobic capacity? Why is that so like ubiquitous and universal? It's almost like we're all highly evolved apes that don't fucking move enough, that really moved for like 200,000 years. And then bam, one day, fucking in the middle of the 21st century, we just all decided we're going to move way less and eat a ton of ultra processed foods.
Yeah.
And if you just take that, organism and you expose it to load and aerobic demand, you're going to get 90% of the fitness potential possible out of every single human. And we're debating the 10%.
Yeah.
I find it more, it's better for my sanity to disengage as much as possible, remember the through lines, and remember like, I always do my best work as a coach when I can make things as simple as possible for my client, and I will tailor it and personalize it to them. But I am starting from a first principles place of these are the tools I use the most that work the best.
Yeah.
And if I need to change the, drill bit on my drill, I'll change the drill bit, but I'm not changing the drill.
Right.
Like, okay, you can't do a barbell squat. That's fine. You can do a hack squat. You can do a goblet squat. You can do a leg press. You could do any unilateral leg exercise, and I'll think it's probably close.
Yep.
The ability to pivot and adjust is not that hard.
No.
And I think if you operate from a place of first principles, it's much easier to coach people and train people and not get caught up in the, should I just jump all together? Should I go from weights to Pilates? Should I go from Pilates to yoga? Should I be doing high rocks? No, you need to do anaerobic training and aerobic training because you are an ape on a planet that is oxygen-based, and you fuel yourself with mitochondria and move your vessels, and you move around with muscle. So if you don't train those, you're cooked. I don't care how you train them, but if you don't train them, you're cooked.
Yeah, that's been a personal victory of mine lately is doing cardio again, and lo and behold, I feel better. And who knows, maybe it's just my placebo, but I don't give a fuck. Placebo's real as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
You know what? Since you just kind of masterfully articulated this and led us right to this subject, I think I'll skip ahead training women versus men for now.
Okay.
And let's talk. And you know what? Maybe this does make more sense because from a hierarchical standpoint, there are some things that precede even those differences in terms of like the training lens, and those things being the power of habits over hacks.
Oh, yeah.
Principles over products. So, what am I talking about? Well, in an effort to be a good host, I did some proper creeping of Danny's page, Instagram page. And, oftentimes when I see Twitter texts on someone's page, I go, oh, here we go. We're going to have a bunch of shitty hot takes and all.
I have those too. But
well, if you do, I wasn't seeing them because everything I was seeing, I was just like, this is a man after my own heart. He very thoughtful, very practical, concise. And one of those tiles was the summation of it was why prioritizing principles over products and habits over, let me not butcher this. Habits over hacks. What that means and what does that entail? Yeah. So Danny, elaborate, please.
It's simple. I think it's shortcuts don't really work that well. And we've been told that by a lot of people across a lot of different avenues in life. And I think when it comes to health,
why do we keep buying that?
Because
we want it to be true so bad.
I think it's natural human psychology. We avoid friction more than we pursue anything else. It's like pain is such a driver. We would rather avoid pain than pursue something. And so if you can buy the solution rather, I think I'll butcher it now, but I said it's so much easier to throw money at a solution, at a problem than it is to throw effort at a problem.
Yeah.
And if I can buy a supplement, I can tell my brain.
That was a fucking bar.
I'm doing something. I'm buying this supplement. Yeah. I am fucking doing something. I am parting with a resource. Yeah. $40 for 30 servings of BCAAs is easier than busting my ass in the gym. Yeah. But like I said, you cannot throw money at a problem that can only be fixed with effort. There are just some things that, and it's the hacks over habits is the same thing. If you don't want to biohack your way to health. Yeah. Like with all these ridiculous, like just train your way to health. Like you cannot get there by sunning your balls and by taking this methylene blue and by drinking raw milk. What are you doing? Yeah. Like, and that's like, what are you doing? And it's like you are pursuing like shiny object bullshit and stuff that you can buy because it's so much easier than just fucking showing up and putting in the effort and the consistency. And that post was designed to try to remind people that there is a pernicious side of our industry that wants you to think you can buy your way out of your health problem, and you just fucking can't. You can only really effort your way out. And even if you do have the means to support yourself with supplements or pharmacology, it still takes effort and time. And people fucking despise both of those things. Yep. Our whole culture is basically antithetical to anything that takes effort and anything that takes time. You're right. We want it now and we want it easy. And the fitness industry fucking understands that tremendously well. And they know that you can't have it quickly and you can't have it easy. And they know that we know. So if they know that, they know, you know what these people would rather do than do what they know they need to do? Buy something that doesn't work and delay before they do that again. Yeah. So many supplements were bought and never used. So many spin bikes that just became coat racks. So many gym memberships that people never even walked in. I remember working at 24 Hour Fitness calling people, hey, you bought a year-long membership and you haven't even come in to activate it. Right. Because throwing money at something feels like doing something. Yeah. And I mean, even, dude, I've had clients over the years who they can afford personal training and they come in and it's very evident they do not want personal training. Yeah.
They don't want that. That's not what this is about. And that's fine. I do my best to encourage and to redirect. And sometimes sort of by osmosis, eventually they go, you know what? I kind of do like doing this effort thing. Yeah. Yeah. But some clients never quite get there.
Totally.
I show up 3 times a week for a year to do nothing.
Totally. Minimal output. I can close my eyes and like go to my studio right now. And you know what I tell the guys all the time, I'm so lucky, bro. Like the best part about my job is I literally work with all my best friends. So it's just
dope.
Diabolical in there. I'm like, oh, this should be illegal. Thank God we don't have HR. This is amazing. It's like, dude, nice set, bro. Hey, get open. Chucking footballs across the gym. It's incredible. The vibe is amazing. And I have noticed that there are a lot of people who hate working out but love that vibe. And they're like, I'm like, you know what? Betty's busting her ass over there today. Where did that come from? She's having fun. She likes it here. And you're right. She didn't like the effort for that first year. Yeah. But every once in a while, you break through to somebody who's like, I know I need a personal trainer. I can afford one. So I'm going to pay you to make sure I do my shit. Yep. And if you can get those people to like exercise and like effort, that feels really good. It is hard. Yeah. But I think it comes from making it fun, creating a personal connection. And I know that everybody has a good enough reason to want to be fit. You just have to find it if they can't.
Yeah. Yeah. I love and to just sort of encapsulate this particular topic, I think you did a masterful job of articulating your point there. I think as long as, and this is larger than fitness. Anytime that there's a problem and people are willing to try and buy their way out of it, there will be someone there to sell you a solution.
You better believe it. And usually they will sell you the solution that offers them the highest margin, which is why supplements are such a wonderful solution, because you can charge an exorbitant amount of money, maybe for something that's not even in the capsule.
It reminds me of
unbelievable.
It's honestly, it's all the same category to me as Pilates even. Like, or not Pilates. I mean, the messaging that goes around from some where it's like, if you do this, this is what this says about you, and this is what it could mean, and this is what it could offer. When in reality, it's like, here's what it is. Take it or leave it.
But you are
if you buy this creatine, motherfucker, you are going to have veins in your abs. You're going to be, it's like, well,
you're selling a vision.
Yeah.
That's what fitness marketing is. I can remember when you were talking bodybuilding forums one time on the pod, and I can remember being like, nah, supplements are literally the answer to everything. I was so into them, so excited about them.
When I found Jim Stepani, I thought I had found Jesus
Shortcut to shred, bro.
Shortcut.
Jim Stepani.
Oh my God. I did shortcut to shred.
How about shortcut to size? That was my shit, because I was shortcut to small already. So I was like, trying to do I was like, fuck, dude, I'm little. I need shortcut to size. Dude, I remember.
Oh, man. I love that you are 30 years old, but you've been
mentally ill. I got into this shit when I was too young.
12 years, 18?
No, I started lifting at like 16. Remember?
So you were consuming all that stuff.
Like,
so we were actually on the same timeline.
Total same timeline. I remember going on bodybuilding.com forums, being like, dude, you want to hear I got myself into some serious trouble with the original Jacked 3D. This was a part of the podcast where I want my wife to stop listening. So she won't make it this far anyway. She's so sick of listening to me talk about working out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah, Kelly.
And so I'm like,
about what I have to say.
Okay, what's the best pre-workout guy at GNC? Oh, Jacked 3D. But it's pretty powerful. Let's get it. Let's get it. First week, 1 scoop, cracked out.
Yeah.
Second week, we're moving up to 2.
Yeah.
I've been using Jacked 3D for probably like 3 or 4 bottles. Yeah. I was a junior in high school, and every day in my 6th period English class, I would put 2 scoops, shake it up, drink it right when the bell rang. I'd walk to the bus, and I'd take the bus to the stop closest to the gym. I'd get off at the gym. So I got a Taco Bell. I'd walk up the street to the gym, and I'd work out for like 3 hours straight because Jack 3D was insanely powerful.
It was amazing.
And it had the 1,3-dimethylamylamine in it, so I was straight tweaking. And I was a young male. I had abs and guns, and I was feeling myself. And there was a time when women were interested in that, and I remember being in a moment where performance was of the utmost importance.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, something wasn't working. And I was like, okay, this is an old guy problem. But you know who will have the answer? Strangers on the bodybuilding.com forums. And so I'm like, look, guys, I'm working out hella hard. I'm taking XYZ and like just trying to do something with a chick, and what's
things weren't working.
And so I'm buying horny goat weed. I'm buying Tribulus. I'm like, I'll supplement my way out of this.
More supplements.
And so I get like a ping on my frickin' forum request. It's like, have you ever heard of Stim Dick? And I was like, Stim Dick? What's Stim Dick? Well, it's what happens when you take so many stimulants that your soldier cannot stand at attention.
Yep.
And so I had like a backlog of like horny goat weed and Tribulus in my system. And I just like pulled the Jack 3D, dude. And it was like, Danny, why are you hanging around after class? I have so much work to do right now, Mrs. Woods. I
just need to stay seated.
I have been deeply in my academic rigor. And I was like, oh my God. So I switched to DS Craze, Driven Sports Craze, which was that was the next meth analog pre-workout before I like safely detoxed to like Muscle Farm Assault.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're on Assault. No crazy stims. Everything's working again.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, I'm going to buy my way out of this at 16. As a complete idiot.
Well, what's wild is that we were regularly consuming a stimulant strong enough to make your dick not work. You know what I mean?
3 scoops.
Wild.
What is the serving size that's safe?
Like if you've done an 8-ball, you might expect that to happen. You probably don't want to be taking a pre-workout that's going to cause that to occur.
Dude, Dude, that, 1,3-dimethylamylamine is
Speaking of an 8-ball and Jack 3D, I have a Jack 3D story. So
everybody has a Jack 3D. Listen,
if you've been in the game
have
long
a Jack
enough,
3D story, I don't want to hear what you have to say about almost anything.
Don't at me, bro. So I had been on so I'm sober. I have
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So I've got, I think, 7.5 years now. But there was a time, and so in my early 20s, me and my buddy, we had this shitty apartment. We went on a prodigious bender, probably a good 48 hours, no sleeping, not much water was consumed. Let's put it that way. We'd been wide awake for quite some time. We eventually pass out, and we woke up around the same time. And I think we were both feeling pretty bad about, who we are as people. Some of you may be familiar with the Sunday scaries. These are probably like the Monday afternoon scaries because we had been up. So anxiety is at an all-time high, incredible amount of dehydration. We have not eaten. That's an important detail. I had not consumed Jack 3D prior to this moment, and my buddy was a Jack 3D connoisseur. So he hammers 2 scoops off rip. He said, here you go. He gives me 2 scoops. I don't read the label. I don't know nothing. Okay. Now, mind you, at this point in time, I have been drinking and doing drugs for a long time. I know what it's like to take too much. I have been on the verge of feeling like I'm going to overdose and die. The last thing I'm worried about is some pre-workout, brother. I'm going to be fine. Fucking wrong. We get to Gold's Gym, so we hammer this. Mind you, that the only water I've consumed in 2 days is what I took.
I like how a workout was going to fix the 2-day back. You know what's going to get this back on track, brother?
Biceps.
Pecs.
Heavy deadlifts and biceps, right?
Malnourished, compound lifting on heavy stimulants.
Heavy legs. So we get in there, and sure enough, no warm-up. We just start ascending weight on heavy RDLs.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
The worst exercise possible.
We did not get through the second working set. I finished the set. I set it down. I'm drenched in sweat that I probably don't have in my body to lose. And I remember I set the bar down and I walked away, and I'm just kind of standing in the middle of the gym, and my vision, everything, like I'm like fully panicking. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears, in my neck. And this is the only time in my life where I legitimately was like, do I call the ambulance right now? Or do I at least spare myself looking like a little bitch and walk out to the parking lot and do it?
But you knew.
I was like, I'm going to die. And so my buddy sees that I'm unwell, and classic just toxic masculinity. My buddy, he goes, hey man, I lay down on a bench. I'm like, I just need to breathe. He walks over to me and he goes, dude, get the fuck up right now. You're embarrassing me. That's what he said. Anyway, long story short, my workout ended. Eventually, my heart rate came down. I got a water, right?
Thank God.
Pounded it. But I'm not kidding. I thought I was going to die on that Gold's Gym floor. I was convinced of it. I've never felt that unwell from anything other than an illegal substance. And it was Jack 3D.
I kind of have a funny caffeine recent fucked me up story. Friend of the pod, Jordan Syatt. So 2 months ago. Shout out Jordan. 2 months ago, I did Jordan's pod in Dallas. And I don't know why I decided not to eat. Yeah. But man, I woke up, I met up with my friend Derek, and I had a cold brew with him. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not feeling like I have a lot of an appetite right now. So I'm just going to go in here on this cold brew, crush this pod. We got done, and 3 or 4 times Jordan offered me food. I was like, nah, I'm good. Dude, I'm fine. I just didn't have an appetite. But I had housed a 450 milligram caffeine cold brew. And I was like, oh shit, we were shooting this shit way too long. So I was like, fuck, dude, I got to get in the airport. He wanted to talk about the Texas State Senate race. And I was like, oh boy, fire me up. I'm not even from here. And I'm like, I got money on Tallarico, baby. Cashed out, perfect time, just making bank, D-Gen gambler. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the back of this Uber. And the he's got a skedaddle. I'm in the back for maybe 5 minutes. And I'm like, fucking awful idea. And I was like, I was like, sir, can you pull over? I got to switch.
Yep.
So I'm sitting in the front.
It's too late now, though.
I'm battling.
Yeah.
50 minutes to the airport. I'm battling.
Oh, was it a Tesla?
¿Tienes agua, amigo? No. I was like, fuck me. He had no water. I had no water. I'm like fading in and out. And I'm like,
God,
just get me
is the worst.
to DFW. Just get me. And I get it horrible, bro. I get it horrible.
Same, I do.
When I'm on a boat and it's bad.
My God.
I look at that propeller and I'm like, it'd be just so fast. It'd be over so fast. Just head first into the propeller. It's over.
Yep.
I need off this
I'll swim
boat.
back.
The amount of fucking times, I'll never forget, I went snorkeling with manta rays at night. Incredible. But I was just yakking into the water, feeding them. And I was like, this is incredibly majestic. Oh, here they come. I get it so bad.
Same.
So I fucking get out of that car at DFW and I was like, yes, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it.
Yes.
Walked inside, got in the elevator to go up.
Uh-huh.
Bing!
Oh my God, no, you did it.
Hello, Air India flight from fucking wherever. This guy is just yakking right in the middle of the goddamn DFW airport. And there must have been like 60 people walking right by. And
You're just projectile vomiting.
And in that moment, you know what I thought to myself? I said, fuck, you know what this airport needs? A gym. No, I'm kidding. And so I immediately was like, I have an Amex membership, total waste of money. Don't do it. But I showered and I cleaned my shit up and I was like, I just got to get home. I just got to get home. Most turbulent flight of my life. Dude, I went on an 11-hour flight to Japan 3 weeks ago with my 1-year-old. Better than that 4-hour flight from
I believe it.
I was like, oh, dude.
Once the sickness sets in,
it doesn't fade.
No, I need a sleep. I need like a full neural reset.
Totally.
Or else any vehicle I get in, it doesn't matter. And like, if I drive, I'm good.
Yep.
Like Kelly and I just traveled to the Northeast for a wedding. The Uber there, ill. I'm so ill. Even if I sit in the front seat, then the plane, and at that point, I'm already spun up.
It sucks.
It's over.
So yeah, a couple motion sick pussies right here. Yeah. But what are you gonna do? We all have a weakness somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Kelly, I can't wait to show her this because she thinks that she doesn't have allergies. She has no food sensitivities. She doesn't get motion sick. Basically, she's perfect, and I'm just.
You have allergies.
Yes, I'm just.
allergies.
I'm just
are
a
so
sensitive
bad.
ginger bitch.
Yeah, I have such bad allergies.
God bless her heart, because she has to put up with it. But she also has like zero empathy. One, because
I heard about the flag football.
I
heard that on the podcast.
Yeah. So I'm going to show her this so that one, you've validated me and we can operate in solidarity here. But two, to let her know that she's not alone.
No, oh my God.
More of us exist.
My wife has such a hard time with me. Thank God I lift weights. We were in Hawaii one time, pissing rain. She's like, don't wear your sandals out there. It's so slippery. It's like, I love these Birkenstocks that have negative tread on them. And I was like, I gotta do some laundry. Mind you, like 20 minutes before this, I nicked someone's car in the parking lot, and I was like, shit, I really gotta check and see if I swapped some paint. I'm like walking out with my fake laundry that I have to do. I really just want to see
check the paint.
No paint exchange. Just as fucking go. All right, well, I might as well do this laundry. Where is it? Oh, it's on the condominium complex basement floor, which is it's just at the bottom of those 35 concrete stairs.
Oh, fuck.
Let me just go ahead and do that. And so I might have taken one step off, and that first Birkenstock goes flying. These clothes are in the air. My wife is on the fucking patio, sees the whole thing, screams. There's like 2 grannies at the bottom of the stairs. These clothes are flying in the air. I think I went down like 25 stairs before I hit.
Oh my God.
Bam, bam, bam.
Dude.
And I got up, shook it off.
Yeah.
Walked to that laundry room. Whoo! Swear to God, I thought I broke my fucking humerus.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And my wife, all she could say was like, I told you needed to get some new sandals. Yeah. I'm like, I could have died. Like, Anybody over 50, instant death.
Yes,
but because of my bone density and like weird, I'm 4% Neanderthal. We did the 23andMe. It's a weirdly high number, and they have like healing powers.
Yeah.
So I was like, thank God, all that like fucking tiny IQ I have, but I was able to survive the fall.
Built like a brick shit house.
And like you know, it's always the same. You need to be more careful. That's on you. You're a spaz.
Zach, what's the best training app on the planet?
It has to be Train Heroic. Gone are the days of sending the old crusty PDF. Now we have a sleek new app.
It's easy to use. There's videos with descriptions. You get to track and log your weight, your reps. There's a community chat function. You can submit videos. You can get feedback.
How about the leaderboard, Tim?
I started using Train Heroic first as an athlete and someone who wanted to learn. Now I use it as a coach. Athletes and other coaches can go and be a part of my training community and get results.
Whether you're an athlete, coach, or just like to train, use the link in our description to find out how you can train on the best app in the world.
And join us on Train Heroic today. We got to get to segments.
Yeah.
So look, I'm going to have to fly you back out at some point, and we got to get you talking about differences of women and men.
Yeah. Well, I can name a few offhand, but let's skip
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and in fact, we can make this a mini segment.
Okay.
So sort of rapid fire, big picture stuff. And I want to preface this by saying, because we talked about this off air, it's difficult because in the fitness landscape that we're in, you know, we want to be aware of the fact that like women aren't little men, and but also like, you know, it's okay to lift heavy and to lift should be right. So all of those things in consideration, what are the big differences between training women and men?
There's some science to back this up. I have found it to be generally true in my coaching practice. I have noticed that women tend to do better with more sets at moderate volumes, and that men tend to do better with higher intensity sets at moderate volumes. So like if I had a dude come in and do like 3 sets of 3 at 90% max, they would crush it. And women don't do as well with that in my personal finding. But if it was like, hey, 4 sets of 10, they crush it. I've noticed that women can actually do quite high volumes and respond to those high volumes pretty well. And I've noticed that the more intensity there is, the less of a response there is. So I don't do, this is just my personal thing, I don't do a ton of like singles and doubles with my female clients. I'll do like 2 or 3 sets of triples. I find like men can get away with more work at their higher percentage of 1RM. Which honestly is a compliment to women. I think they can handle a lot of volume.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they're soft. Cycle syncing was something that was very interesting in our industry for a long time. Seems like the evidence kind of goes, meh, it's not really worth stressing about, which I think is wonderful. But something a lot of coaches don't realize is there are differences between men and women. There's differences between women and other women.
Right.
And every woman's cycle is so different. There are some women that can be straight up in the worst part of their cycle and train like an absolute unit. And there are other women who just need to take that week off. And that's something that you really can't generalize. I have also noticed that women tend to have a substantially harder bar to clear for their own accomplishments in the gym. They tend to be less they do not give themselves as much credit as men. Men tend to I find as a coach that I need to supply my female clients with quite a bit of motivation and good job because they have so much pressure from the outside world. And I think, you know, everybody needs motivation and to be told they're doing good, but so do my female clients. And sometimes we get to these weeks where they are in and around a part of their cycle and they have self-talk with me that I'm like, what are you talking about? You're crushing, you're bashing yourself like crazy. Do you hear this? Like, hey, where are we at? Oh, look at where we're at. You're doing that thing again where 5 days a month you trash yourself because you know some of what's going on at the level of your physiology is impacting your self-image.
I think that can't be overstated either. Anyone, if you've ever had undulations in your hormones, you are intimately aware that it impacts your entire perspective.
Totally.
I have said for a long time, you are a slave to your hormones far more than you recognize.
Totally.
And I think for men also too, it's really hard to recognize that until you get to a place where it's like you do have low testosterone.
Yeah.
Usually for men, that's the only way you're going to truly experience that.
That's the big one. And if you have dysregulated testosterone, whether it's from low sleep or hypogonadism, it will show up. And women have a few days a month where their physiology is in a suboptimal place to assess how they're doing. And I think being able to meet them there and be like, no. This week, I'm going to make the determination on how you're doing, and you're way underrepresenting how well you're doing. I'm just going to set you back on track. When it comes to the actual, like, mechanics of training, dude, I think it's so much the same shit.
Yep.
I have found, like, women do tend to have a preference for leg training in a way that men just generally don't. And, like, men love pecs, arms, delts, and traps, and women just generally don't as much. But, like, the similarities in how I program are pretty ubiquitous from male to female. I think coaching women as a man, you need to be a little bit better at listening, and you need to be a little bit better at making concessions, because, like, if your client says, like, dude, I'm this is crushing me today, I'm like, okay, I don't understand, but I'm listening. I'm gonna accommodate. And that's probably the best thing you could do. And it's gonna sound pretty shitty, but I think it's like 95% of the same stuff. And I think a lot of the gendered training differences are marketing things, where it's like you need to be on a women's program, right? And it's like, I don't know.
Strength.
You were on a good
strength and conditioning for women.
Yeah, like if you were just on a good strength program, you look pretty feminine as long as you don't have like a male testosterone level, right? Which is pretty fucking rare for women.
Yep. Well done, sir. All right, we're going to get to some segments. We've got 10 minutes. We're going to rapid fire these bad boys. How's that sound, Danny?
I like it.
All right. So, first segment, this is 3 things. Danny, let's say, let's speak to women. Okay. Someone is on the precipice of beginning their fitness journey, a woman specifically. What are the 3 things, actions, piece of advice, words of encouragement, whatever it would be, 3 things that you're going to give them at the start of this journey? What do they need to do?
The first thing I would tell anyone, but more specifically women, would be that grace and patience are your best friend. Fitness change, just like a lot of life change, is twice as hard and takes twice as long as you think it will. And if you can have patience and if you can be gentle with yourself when you fuck up, you can get there. But if you're your own worst critic and you are like the queen of I missed a workout, I'm just a failure, you will not get there. So you have to be aware of the self-talk that, one, has been socially pushed on you, algorithmically pushed on you, and you have to have a consistent dialogue of, I'm going to show up, I'm going to execute, this is for me, I'm allowed to make mistakes. You need to give yourself grace. I think the number one reason people struggle to stay consistent with fitness is because they want it really fast, and when they don't get it fast, they think they're failing, and it's just not a fast thing. So just expect it to take a long time, and be kind to yourself along the way. The second piece of advice, again, true for both genders, but probably more true for women, if you pursue strength and performance, you will like your physique a lot more than if you just pursue your physique. I have found that many women never act, they're like, I want to have a huge butt. And it's like, okay, what are you doing for that? Oh, I'm doing band work and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, can you RDL 225? Right. Because if you can RDL 225, your glutes are going to be pretty damn strong. And I find a lot of women never develop a foundation of strength or capacity that would actually be better for physique development, for aging, and for injury prevention, if you even believe in such things. I understand that's not really real, but overall tissue resilience. And I think the development of foundational strength is kind of where I would start. Don't worry about doing something cool, doing something hard, doing something sexy. If you just lifted 3 days a week and each day you did some type of squat, some type of hinge, and a push or a pull to develop like a very basic level of strength, you will have a foundation for changing the way you look that is substantially better than if you just burn calories. And I think the third thing I would say, it just dovetails into what we've talked about today. They're targeting you. They want your money. They want you to feel bad about how you look, and they want you to try to make that pain go away by spending money. They don't care about your health. Yeah. They don't care about your longevity. The only person who's ever going to, and by they, I mean the wellness industry. I don't mean like the government or whatever. I mean like the wellness industry that has no doubt about it, fucked up how you feel about the way you look. They want you to feel that way. And the best thing you can do to make fitness enjoyable is to remember that what you look like right now, today, and what you might look like down the road are very difficult to control and change. But how you show up each day, the way you talk to yourself, the effort you put in will change you way more than anything you feel like you should buy. There's nothing missing. You're not broken. There's no pill, powder, or fucking potion. It is effort and consistency.
Beautiful, man. Well done. Rant and Rave. This is brought to you by Train Heroic. Click the link in the show notes. Join me, join Zach, join many of us at this point on Train Heroic. Okay, so fitness industry at large. What's a rant? So something that you're seeing, perhaps something recent that you're seeing. You're like, ugh.
Okay.
I can do without this. And then we're going to bring it home with a rave. Something you're seeing where you're like, I can get down with this. Let's encourage it.
I think this is going to be a little bit of a different answer.
Okay.
I've seen it more in the last 2 months than like ever. And to me, it's kind of concerning. But in fitness, you have a lot of young men who are pursuing status through the development of the way that they look. When you're a woman and you're young and you're beautiful, you have a lot of status. When you're a man and you're young and you're beautiful, it doesn't matter. You have to have like money and cars and shit. So it's like we buy our status. Look at my car, look at my shoes, I'm cool. And then when we get old and rich, we're like, yes, I have status now. And women are like, I'm young and beautiful, I have status. And then when they get older, they're like, fuck, I lost that shit.
I had it.
It's very true. It goes that way. And so young men who want to find status will pursue the change of the physique because that is an external display of something. And what I have noticed is that young men who are fitness adjacent, fitness curious in the wellness space, who are pursuing personal improvement, which is wonderful, their algorithm shows them other things that are really misogynistic and fucking racist and anti-Semitic and you name it. And there is a pipeline for young men who like to train and like to change the way they look that leads them to places that have really surprised me. And like I'll scroll through my algorithm and I see some like racially infused fitness shit. And I'll just see crazy comments. And I'm like, how the hell did this permeate our space? And I know why. And it's because lonely male energy attracts a lot of nastiness. And I would like to keep that out of fitness. I would like to remind all these young men the best thing you can do is improve yourself personally. You will gain nothing from putting other people down. You will gain nothing from creating divisions on the basis of class, race, or whatever. But this algorithm identifies you as somebody who is highly malleable and highly insecure. And you are going to see a lot more than fitness content. And I have noticed something kind of gross in our space. And I don't love it. And I'm pretty agnostic. I'm not a religious person, but I've seen some stuff that kind of gives me like the heebie-jeebies, if that makes sense. Yep. Maybe you know what I'm talking about.
I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Another wave of this is making fitness a lot about faith. I'm okay with that. Oh my God. I am okay with that. I'm an atheist, so I have my I take issue with most of the world's religions. Yeah. But I don't think being fit is godly. And I don't think you deserve credit for that from other people. And I think that's actually not what Jesus would want you to do with your fitness. And I've seen so much of that. And I'm like, who are you marketing to? Who is this for? If you're not in shape, God's mad at you. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, why did he let us make ultra processed food? Like, why did God make sitting on your phone and rotting so fun? Like, that has.
Or that comment that you just threw under someone's page for the thing that you don't agree with.
Yeah, I find it, and like, I can be very inflammatory in my own thoughts. I just, some of this has gone a little too far. As for a rave, I'm like so stoked that we have people lifting weights who never lifted before. Like the overall amount of people lifting is like sky high, highest it's ever been. We have people who are taking GLP-1s who are like, I know I need to hold on to muscle. I got to get lifting. We have older people who are like, I want to lift for bone density. I think it's so cool. Yeah. I just think we need to give these people the best experience possible because we have more people coming to the Church of Gains than ever. And I think this is just a tremendous opportunity. And I've never seen more people more interested in something like this. And to me, it's so cool because we've waited our whole lives for the non-lifters to give a shit. Yep. And like, this is the moment. I feel like it's totally happening.
It is happening. Amazing. Masterful rant and rave, sir. I love this segment. This is brought to you by David Gray Rehab. If you click the link in the show notes, you can find his foot, ankle, and Achilles program. And did you know that if you use code TIM, you'll get 15% off and lifetime access to said program? Sounds like a pretty good fucking deal to me. Danny, if you weren't a coach, what would you be and why?
I have several things that I would enjoy doing if I wasn't a coach. I actually think about this often. Not because I don't love coaching, but only because the ADHD that we talked about.
Yeah, totally.
One of them is I'd love to do tours of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. I know that job does not pay well, but I think it would be tremendously entertaining. I like U.S. history. Every time I've taken the tour, I'm like, I could do this better than this guy. And a second one, like for sure, that's one of my off the grid ones. Okay. Another one would be I'd love to work at a fish store. For years, I had like hundreds of gallons of fish tanks in my house. Weird thing to be into.
Well, my dad was in.
Nice. Yeah. Hell yeah.
He had a fucking, I don't know how many gallons, a massive saltwater tank. Oh, yeah. And we had a bizarre blizzard in like 94 or something.
Killed them all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you lose power because you got to maintain the temperature and you have to maintain the water parameters. Yeah. But working at a fish store would be super mellow, super fun.
Yeah.
The more serious things that I would do if I wasn't coaching, my original job goal was marine biology. Okay. God, that ain't happening with motion sickness.
No, it's
so
not.
Maybe something environmental science based on land, or like political consulting or something to that degree. I find a lot of non-fitness things interesting, which actually helps me with my clients who aren't fitness people when they come to me. So I would pick some. I want to give you an answer that's not fitness related at all. I'd also be cool like selling memberships at 24 Hour Fitness. I'd be like, fuck it, I'm gonna be the best ever.
The best memberships of all time.
I could have fun doing a lot, and that is more important to me than anything. Can I enjoy the work that I'm doing?
Yeah, love it. Okay, this segment is called Overrated, Underrated. So similar to Rant and Rave, with the slight difference of it being trend-based. Mm-hmm. So, what is a trend that you're seeing right now in the fitness space at large, or any niche that you prefer, that you feel like is overrated? And then what is a trend, or perhaps just an idea, philosophy, approach that is underrated?
Carnivore is overrated. An all-meat diet is insane. Yeah. I think it's completely wild.
Remember that was like I feel like it's lost steam.
Thank God.
But for a minute there,
it's still very present. Yeah. It mostly lost steam because all the largest proponents were like dying.
Literally
like, I'm now animal based. Yeah, nice rebrand, fucking weirdo. Like, I was dying and
my blind lab work came back.
And it's like again, I'm gonna make another kind of claim. Like, what are you trying to show me about yourself with this diet? Because it ain't about health, bro.
Yeah,
you ain't no fucking. You're not primal, bro. Posting on your phone. Yeah, you are craving masculinity, and you're trying to find it through this wooden cutting board, and I'm not buying it for 1 second. You need some fucking fiber. That trend to me is like very performative and very lame, and like I think it's actually bad for men to only eat meat. I think
those top of funnel,
dude. I'm like, yeah, you start with carnivore, and then before you know it, you're fucking like, who knows what you're doing. But I'll tell you what, you're saying some crazy shit under people's comments. You probably have a Bible verse in the bio. We're getting it. It is a top of the funnel thing. And if you work your way through that funnel, you're going to have like terrible diarrhea, awful gut health. Yeah. And like, why not just be like why not eat a lot of meat and also have nutrient dense plants? That is performance art at its finest. I think it's very overrated. I think it's actually bad. What is underrated that nobody says is underrated? Because everybody's like, oh, walking's underrated. Oh, eating vegetables is underrated. Not drinking alcohol, super underrated. You can eat so much more shit. You can fucking have so much more flexibility if you're just not an alcoholic. Like, drink moderately or not at all, and you have so much more flexibility. How do you eat like that and not get fat? I don't house 300 to 500 calories a day of carcinogens, bro. Yeah. I just don't. Like, I drink diet soda, and I eat what I want. And because I don't drink alcohol, my calories are such that I'm doing pretty solidly. And like for most people, they're like, what should I cut out? Alcohol. Yeah. Just cut that out. If you are drinking above a moderate level, very good for health, very good for body composition, tremendously underrated way to improve your health. However, and this is not a slight to you because I am impressed by your sobriety. Mm-hmm. I don't like the Austin Bro video of like, what is the video? Hold on, I gotta think of the fucking audio. It's like, no one tells you how hard it is to go from this to this. Like, oh yeah,
it was
like
so hard. A 25-year-old that just was like, it's like a video of him barfing at his frat house. Yeah, yeah. And it was just like, because he binge drank one weekend. Yeah, and then now it's like to go from this to that. Bro was never overweight.
Like, oh wow, dude, tell me more about your crippling alcohol addiction. Oh no, wait, you just had like one Snapchat your buddy saved from you going way too hard, and you're actually projecting that you had a substance use disorder that you overcame to become a hybrid guy.
Hype me up, Danny.
Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, I
that's one of those pieces that I wanted to green screen, because as someone who is a legitimate, full-blown fucking alcoholic drug addict, addiction has ruined many lives around me. I have a brother doing life in prison. I have friends that have died. It riddled my childhood with trauma. I see stuff like that, and I see some fuckface who is honestly cosplaying.
Yeah. You know how hard it was to go from being a college student to being an incredibly attractive guy in Austin with abs. Oh yeah, dude.
Super hard.
I'm so sorry. You're just swimming in pussy.
Oh my god. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, poor guy. I hate that, and I honestly think that I don't like anybody looking for moral superiority from voluntary omissions that they were strong enough to partake in. Like, that is good for you, bro, and I'm proud of you. But you don't know how hard that is for somebody who has the actual brain of an addict. And you're not gaining any points from me.
It's tough. I've often wanted to. I've felt compelled to make more content around addiction in general and what it was like and getting sober and navigating life now as someone who has to live a sober life if I want to have a happy one.
Sure.
And be the kind of father, friend, employer, employee that aligns with my moral compass.
Totally.
However, what I struggle with is doing that in such a way that it isn't received as. And so how do I do that in a way that is authentic, that is meant to be truly helpful without it being grifty?
Dude, I don't know.
Because I don't know. I couldn't. And so I choose not to. And when it comes up, when it comes up and I have an opportunity to, give a perspective or perhaps, be impactful, hopefully, in a positive way, I take that opportunity, but I have stayed away from, and there are accounts where it's like the sober insert whatever, you know? And it's like the entire personality, and I've often find some, like, I don't even find a lot of maliciousness in some of that stuff. However, it's impossible for it to not be a grift if it's your entire personality.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
And I don't know how to thread that.
Well, the good news is you've overcome something tremendously difficult. Yeah. Made it a part of your personality. It's made you better, but it's not your whole identity. No, which is very rare and very cool.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But no, I think you and I are aligned. That particular trend, that trend in general, that subset of it, brutal. All right, I think we got one more. Solicited advice by our dear friends at Eleiko. I still cannot believe they fucking sponsor this podcast. Eleiko, we love you. Don't ever leave us. Click the link in the show notes, guys. You can save 10% off everything in that link, which is insane. We are still the only people on planet Earth that have a discount code for the company Eleiko.
That's
tremendous.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, man. So this is unsolicited, solicited advice. So let's rewind the clock. You've projectile vomited. Elevator, in all its magnificence and glory.
Nice.
You've cleaned up. You've washed off your filth and shame from the episode, and you're gathering yourself. And you're sitting down. You're at the gate, and you're waiting. And someone sits down next to you. And for whatever reason, you feel overcome. You feel compelled to share a piece of advice with the person next to you. Have they asked for this advice? No. Are you going to share it with them? You bet your ass. What is that advice, Danny? It can be about anything.
4,000 weeks. I would tell them that you get 4,000 weeks. That's how long humans live. I don't know what you plan on doing with that time, but you've probably used a lot of those weeks. Mm-hmm. When I got on the plane to fly here, no shit, I got a call from the facility that my dad lives in, where he's being treated for his end-stage Parkinson's. And they were like, Danny, we have to take your dad to the hospital because he's not breathing well at all. And he needs to be put on oxygen.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a call today about how my dad is doing. Mm-hmm. But I remember 3 weeks ago for Thanksgiving, I drove down to get him, picked him up. We spent the day together. Didn't go as well as it used to because of the way the disease is progressing.
Yeah.
But when I brought him back, he was like, I'm sorry with how that went. I said, it doesn't matter, Dad. I love you. Like, I love you. I'll always be proud of the fact that you're my dad. And like every Thanksgiving we get right now feels like house money. I can't believe you get to be with me. I can't believe you get to be with my son. All of that stuff means so much. And my dad's getting to the end of that 4,000 weeks. And I think a lot of us should take inventory. The people you love, the things you want to accomplish, the people in your life who are running out of time, make time for it because your 4,000 weeks is limited. And I was able to be here and do this and have a collected headspace because I know when I'm done, I'm going home, I'm going to go see him.
Yeah.
But in that time, I'm not wasting it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm already 2,000 weeks in, baby. And I think after having a kid, it goes so much faster.
It does.
And 14 months today.
Oh, congratulations.
But it is, we are not here for a long time.
No.
And you're going to reach a point where the people you love the most exit, whether it's a parent or, you know, an uncle or a grandparent. And you'll always wish you had more time.
Yeah.
And I totally fucked that up early in life. And I don't make that mistake now in my late 20s. I'm so glad I don't. But your time is finite. And as much as we're people who listen to this, we're chasers, we're pursuers, we're go out and getters, you're building so many things right now you don't even have time to breathe. But you've got to make time for your people because that's what it's all about. And not everybody has a ton of time.
Yeah. That is, everybody, some really fucking good advice. Danny, this has been an absolute treat. I'm just so impressed with you and your personality and how articulate and intelligent and thoughtful and the depth of your considerations when you speak and the effortlessness in what you do it. You're a truly tremendous individual. I'm really grateful.
Thanks, bro.
For you making the trip out here. Thank you.
It's been awesome.
Where can people find you and connect with you, learn more about you?
Instagram. You can just put Danny Matranga in there. You'll find me there. I have my own podcast, the Progressive Overload Project. I do some YouTube stuff. I own a gym / physical therapy studio in Sonoma County. But yeah, find me on the internet. Keep up with me there. If you feel that the way that the industry is going is a little bit icky, you might find what I have to offer a little bit refreshing.
Yeah. I would agree. Go follow Danny. He's one of the good guys, and he gets it. Everyone who has made it this far, thank you so much for listening and watching. We're eternally grateful. And remember, there are two types of people on this planet Earth. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.